Cade York. Cade York, the man that is making me single-handedly look like the biggest jerk on the planet. Cade York, I feel like, I know this isn't true. I know Cade York probably does not even know of my existence. But Cade York, it's like he heard everything that I've made a bit about these kickers and decided I'm going to make Quincy look as stupid as possible because that's what that man did. 58-yard field goal to win the game today. And it wasn't just good. It was like an extra point. That thing smacked the net from 58. Yeah, this is a kicker I think is a little bit special. I think he's worth keeping for if he has ups and downs. Nah, dog, you got to rock with that. The signs are there. Love his composure before and after that kick, his press conference and stuff, man. And he might have it. But Cade York played well, obviously. Responsible for 12 of the Cleveland Browns' points in winning this game. Let's talk about this game real quick. I'm going to try to go up and down from the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Let's talk about defense. Defense played extremely well outside of 4 plays. You know what I mean? They had 4 bad plays, but those plays just weren't bad. They were catastrophic. And here's the truth. You can play really well and have 4 bad plays, and it don't mean a damn thing that you played well outside of them 4 plays. So it's nice that they gave us this, but you got to stay disciplined the whole game, not most of the game, because you cannot allow those big plays to happen. The Browns are not a defense, not during this 11-game stretch, that can allow big plays to happen. We cannot have that be a flaw of this defense, that we fall asleep sometimes and let big plays happen. That has to get nipped in the bud now. Whatever caused it needs to get fixed, needs to be cleaned up, needs to never happen again. We can give up points. We can't give up quick scores. That's what the Browns did in the fourth quarter. 2 unexcusable quick scores, right? One of it, I have to wait till all 22 films out, but it looked like Greg Newsome got caught thinking that he was in cover 2 or 4. And he was really in 1, and he just let a guy go through on the under. Bad mistake, can't make it that late in the game. The other one, Tommy Tremble, somebody just vacated the middle of the field. I think JOK was supposed to be responsible for that. He didn't float up on follow like he should have. Somebody messed up, can't happen, right? Can't allow these big plays to happen. Outside of that, I mean, Myles Garrett is Myles Garrett. People are going to talk about this like Myles didn't play well. He had 2 sacks and a tackle for loss. The standard for Myles Garrett is ridiculous. This is almost like a LeBron level of standard that people have for Myles Garrett, but Myles Garrett's really good. Jadeveon Clowney, I felt like played really good. He had like 4 or 5 batted balls today. He swatted like 4 or 5 passes. Very good game from Jadeveon Clowney. We look at the secondary. Outside of that one play, Greg Newsome played well. I don't think anybody went his way. I don't remember anybody going after Denzel Ward outside the one play where Denzel Ward was not really in coverage. He was just kind of over coverage. And then Martin Emerson. Let's talk about Martin Emerson, man. He's really good. He's really good. And he's showing it. He's a real physical, NFL young boy type player, but he's a really good corner, really strong coverage skills, smart zone skills. It's unfortunate that Greedy Williams is on IR, but it's fortunate that that Martin Emerson is going to come up in there no problem. Same thing with AJ Green, but Martin Emerson more so. That looks like a 3rd-round pick that hit. He's going to be good. Who else? JOK, really, I didn't really see too much out of him today. It wasn't his finest effort. It wasn't a poor effort, but it just wasn't his finest effort. Okay, there are 2 players I'm going to point out specifically that I think this needs to be addressed sooner than later, because I don't think they need to get snaps if this is going to continue. And it's Ronnie Harrison and it's Jacob Phillips. Missed tackles multiple times. Specifically on Christian McCaffrey. There was a 3rd and 7 where they had him dead to rights 2 times. I believe Jacob Phillips was in the backfield early, and Ronnie Harrison had him 3 yards into that run. Both did not make a tackle. Both missed tackles all game. Here's the situation with Ronnie. I'm at the point now to where, look, I think Ronnie can provide a lot. He's a really smart player, but this team's deep. And the reality is, if Ronnie's going to continue to miss tackles, he doesn't have to be on the field. you can put DeAnthony Bell in there. I'm not saying he needs to be benched immediately, but I am saying we need to start thinking about DeAnthony Bell being the third safety instead of Ronnie Harrison, because Ronnie can't tackle right now. For whatever reason, he's just become a terrible tackler over the last couple of years. When you look at broken plays, when you look at big plays, it's usually Ronnie Harrison that's missing a tackle in those situations. Now, it shouldn't be up to Ronnie, and that's where Jacob Phillips comes in. Missing tackles, playing like Mack Wilson. A lot of Mack Wilson stuff I saw there. Flashes of great athleticism, but just not finishing plays. Cannot have it. Not acceptable. Can't do it. Not when the pressure is going to be on the defense as strong as it's going to be. Can't continue to happen. Those two things and those two things with those two players have to be addressed, because Sione Takitaki can be out there. Anthony Walker can just be out there every play. We don't have to play Ronnie Harrison and Jacob Phillips if they're going to be missing tackles. We really don't. We have options. So that needs to be addressed. That needs to be absolutely 1,000% addressed. Probably Tuesday. And that was really the only problem with the defense. Everything else was just excellent. I mean, the Panthers didn't have positive yards, I think, or at least more than 20 positive yards until the second half, until the last drive of the first half. It was something crazy like that. Defense was absolutely smothering in the beginning of this game. Needs to continue it. Needs to stay focused. Whenever we go up by 10, for whatever reason, these Joe Woods defenses this is the thing with the team. Whenever the Browns go up by 10, that's trouble, bro. Every time. We just lose focus. That needs to stop. That's why our point differentials are always terrible. With that being said, Browns did win. but I do have things. Again, y'all know me. I come here to talk critically about the sports. It means I'm going to celebrate the good. I'm going to admonish the bad. Right? I'm not going to just yay Browns. Woohoo. No. We're going to do yay Browns. Absolutely. But we also going to, talk about what needs to be fixed and have that healthy discussion. Hopefully a healthy, informed discussion. That's what I shoot for. All right, let's talk about the offensive side of the ball. I feel like a lot of stuff. Well, let's start with the offensive line before we talk about Jacoby Brissett. I feel like they were good today. I mean, they were excellent. James Hudson and Jedrick Wills were two people that a lot of people had a lot of scrutiny on because of a couple of iffy performances at the end of last year that really weren't that iffy. James Hudson, night and day. Night and day for me. He wasn't bad last year at the end of it. Night and day. He's able to anchor better, his strength, his feet. If Jack Conklin can't play for an extended period of time, I have no concern. And that's saying something, right? Jack Conklin's obviously better at this point, but it's a non-factor because they're both starting level right tackles, in my opinion. Held up really well. Jedrick Wills, similarly. A lot of talk about Jedrick Wills. A lot of concern. Ended up being nothing. Same thing with Ethan Posick. Ended up being nothing. So those three question marks on the offensive line got solved, got answered. No problem. They were really good. They look like the 2020 offensive line Browns, where Jacoby had forever in a day. Let's talk about Jacoby. I want to be very clear. There is criticizing Jacoby Brissett, and then there is criticizing Jacoby Brissett versus expectation. My expectation of Jacoby Brissett is not of a franchise quarterback. My expectation of Jacoby Brissett is not of an elite quarterback. It is of an average quarterback who you're asking to not get in the way. So, whereas with Baker, the criticisms were somebody who is aspiring to be a franchise quarterback, with Jacoby, the expectations and what we're asking is different. With Baker, we're fine with interceptions because if you bring big plays, that's more towards franchise quarterback. With Jacoby, interceptions are intolerable, but we will accept some missed throws and missed opportunities in order to avoid the interceptions. There were definitely some missed opportunities. There was the Amari Cooper hole shot in cover 2 early in the game that he just flat missed because he overthrew him. He left too much air, put too much time in there when he should have just threw it. Amari beat J.C. Horn right off the line of scrimmage. There is the Kareem Hunt play where Kareem Hunt was wide open. He overthrew him, unfortunately. There was a penalty on the play, ended up not mattering that much. They scored on that drive, still a missed opportunity. And there was the play to Amari Cooper that ended up being a penalty. They got I don't know if they got points. I don't think they got points on that drive, but the drive extended because of a defensive holding call. And Amari Cooper did get tumbled, right? But again, another missed opportunity. If Amari Cooper is in a position to catch that ball, he's probably going to the house. And this game, again, is not close. Room for improvement. I think the biggest problem with Jacoby Brissett today was he wasn't trusting what he knew was going to be open from the offense. He was trusting what he saw with his eyes, which caused him to be late. Now, on 3rd and 4th down, I'm fine with him doing that. But on 1st and 2nd down, I need him to trust the offense and let it rip a little bit more often, right? Jacoby needs to understand Kevin's not going to put you in a bad situation. If you trust what Kevin does, you're going to look good. Ask Baker Mayfield. When he trusted Kevin, he looked fine. When he didn't trust Kevin, that's when he looked like what got him traded. But he needs to trust him more. He needs to let it rip more on 1st and 2nd down. 3rd and 4th down, I'm fine with how he operates because he's pretty good on those areas. Also, a sneakily clutch guy. Again, did not have the greatest game in the world, but had enough calmness in him to get the throws that he needed to get. And those are tight window throws that he made. Well, tight throws that he made to get the ball to the 40-yard line and did exactly enough, barely enough, but enough for the team to win. Did not throw any interceptions. Only took 1 sack. It's very good. It's very good. That's what I would take. That's why I think he took 1 or 2 sacks. Somebody correct me. But he didn't take very many sacks. But that's what Jacoby Brissett gave this team. And I think that's good. I think there's room for improvement. He definitely needs to get better for this team to beat better teams. But luckily for the Browns, they have 4 weeks before they play really strong opponents. They have some tough opponents ahead of them, but they don't have really strong top-level opponents. Probably until, Pittsburgh Thursday night's going to be a test, week 3. And then after that, there's a gauntlet. So if we want to be able to get to the situation where the Browns can win 6 games, he needs to trust this offense a little bit more. But that being said, I think he was fine. Wide receiver play, I thought was fine. They were getting open. They were getting schemed open for the most part. It wasn't like world breaking, but I don't think it's a problem or the problem that we might have thought it would be coming into the season. So I'm okay with it there from that standpoint. I really want to shine a spotlight on David Njoku because, man, I was critical of David Njoku, real critical of him 2 years ago. I thought he could get cut. And the improvements that he has made as a blocker, mind-blowing. Josh Allen-like improvements right there because he was not just a good blocker. He was the Browns' best lead blocker that they've had in years since Lawrence Vicker today. Like, he was so good clearing. He was so good on that edge. He was so good as a lead blocker. He was George Kittle out there as a blocker. Now, I wish they would have utilized him more as a receiver, but he made all his money today blocking. I got to do a cut-up or something of him to show you guys how good he was. But David Njoku really deserves a lot of respect and love for the improvements that he has made as a blocker. He was somebody who came into the NFL, wasn't really good at it. Had up and down moments where he showed flashes of being a good blocker, but also being the guy who just didn't care about it in 2019. And then he comes into this season, and not only is he, like, he was a good blocker last year, but this year, he is that man. Like, the Browns are better at fullback, not because they have a better fullback, but because David Njoku and Kareem Hunt are that good at lead blocking. David Njoku, again, not a stat sheet day, but boy, if you look at that tape of him blocking, he was clearing them out. He was clearing them out. Great job by David Njoku. I just wanted to make sure, I'm somebody who gets on people on this team when the team's not winning or the team does not play well or somebody on the team does not play well. I'm good for that. I'm also good for giving you flowers when I feel like you're playing good. You know what I mean? I'm going to be critical of guys. I'm going to be praising the guys, but that's what I let the ball on the field be what points my criticism, not my feelings about somebody. So, I wanted to make that known. David Njoku, incredible job. So happy for him. Hopefully he continues along this path. But that's it. Y'all have a great day. Have a good night.